Hey guys, welcome back to Pretty Pessimistic. I am so glad that you chose to join me today. Today we are going to be discussing a true crime / conspiracy, possible paranormal case. Maybe not as paranormal as originally thought, but things are going to get a bit strange in today's video, just like us pessimists like it. Just an FYI, this intro is going to be a very long intro, so I apologize ahead of time. Today we are going to discuss this pretty strange case. One that there are hundreds of other kinds of cases like this, but not with the other two. Once today's video is finished, you will understand. So let's hurry up and get into it because, man, this is something. And I am going to make probably a 3, maybe 4-part series because it seems like it gets pretty deep. Once we get finished talking about this case about Dylan, I am going straight to research the other 2 cases about the other 2 girls that mysteriously died. There's lots of cases individually that are kind of like this, but not how this one involves 2 other cases. If you know anything about Dave Paulette's Missing 411, the strange state park and forest disappearances, these cases are cases that really grab my attention. They are so strange and honestly sometimes frustrating, especially how these cases are handled and investigated. It gets seriously questionable, but that discussion is for a different day. It is a lot of mystery surrounding people going missing, and the investigation afterwards only turns up even more very confusing or at times a disturbing evidence that does not add up at all. And more often than not, the authorities, no matter which authorities they are, try and hide and cover up what little confusing evidence is available. Today's case surrounding Dylan Parker is very much one of these cases. Dave Paulette actually speaks about Dylan on his YouTube channel, which I will link below if you're interested in seeing that video. Dylan Parker was 18 years old. He lived in rural Osborne, Idaho, and in 2014, Dylan attends a party with his peers. The party was in his hometown, but the house party was to take place at a house that was deep in the woods, and it was super rural, hard to find. It was dark and snowy that night, to say the least. So Dylan makes plans for his mom to pick him up from this party. But because of the fact that the house was in a wooded area and hard to find at night, Dylan arranged for his mother to meet him about a mile up the road from the party at a gas station. That was to make it easier for her to find him and pick him up. Even though it was snowy and it was a mile away, it was going to be like 20 minutes for the walk. That was the estimated time it should have taken Dylan to walk from the party to the gas station. So Dylan goes to the party, texting his mom throughout the night. Eventually he texts her and lets her know he's ready to go, and she follows their plan, heads toward the gas station to meet her son. While on the way, Dylan calls his mother. When she picks up, Dylan is frantically asking her, "Where are you? Where are you?" Sounded panicked and distressed. He keeps saying, "Where are you? Where are you? I can't see you." She expresses she is on her way. She was only 5 or 10 minutes away at her starting point anyways. When she gets to the gas station she is supposed to pick Dylan up at, she looks around and Dylan is nowhere to be found. So as she's looking for her son, she eventually makes her way inside of the gas station, asks the clerk if they had seen Dylan. They say no, actually they hadn't seen anyone that night and no one had been to that gas station. So Dylan's mom then gets back in her car and gets back on the road. She continues to look for Dylan. She is starting to worry and she's yelling for him out of the car windows, driving around, but she finds nothing. Dylan has seemingly vanished. So she calls police, who act quickly because it is cold. He was walking. He is a teenager underage who's been drinking. He also, just shortly before, was speaking to his mother, planning to meet her within minutes of talking to her. So it was urgent to find him. The fear was he was wandering alone out there in the cold, or maybe even worse. A search ensues, and they search all through the night for Dylan Parker. But unfortunately, they do not find him that night. For the next week, they conduct searches and try to locate Dylan. After searching all week, sadly, 2 men end up stumbling upon Dylan's body while riding ATVs. Dylan Parker's body is found in the complete opposite direction of the gas station he was supposed to be headed to. One strange thing was the distance Dylan had traveled, which was quite a ways, apparently all the way into another town. He had somehow crossed the line into another town. Another extremely chilling aspect to this case is surrounding the ATV riders that found Dylan. These guys were up in that pre-line because the day before they had crashed an ATV in that exact spot. So think about that. That would mean that those 2 guys were there in that same spot the very day before. Dylan's body was frozen on the ground and wearing no pants or shoes. His socks were still on his body. But, in my opinion, this is one of the strangest parts of this case. His socks were completely clean. So, he had removed his pants and shoes, but he was wearing his socks, which were clean. Dylan also had scratches on the top half of his body. These scratches were severe, too. Not just scrapes and bumps, but actual lacerations in some places, which would indicate that he had been through a very dense wooded area. But another very strange thing was the bottom half of his body, where he had removed his pants, remember, was untouched. No scratches, marks at all, like the top half of his body. So, Dylan had gotten lost, presumably trekked far enough to cross into another town. Sometime along the way, he undressed his bottom half, his pants and shoes. These items were never found, by the way. But anyway, presumably along the way, he removed his pants and shoes and somehow continued also scratching up his top half, and not his half-naked bottom half. Then he ended up somehow in a place that had already been checked. 2 ATV riders were there the day before, and again, Dylan's socks would have had been walked on after he had removed his shoes, but they were clean. I mean, clean like he had put them on after a shower and his feet hadn't even hit the floor yet. So, he couldn't have walked after removing his shoes, right? Because he would have been walking on snowy, wet forest floor. Something would have been on his socks. They did say that he died of hypothermia and that was why he was taking his pants off, but, I mean, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. I am almost speechless. This is one of the strangest cases I have ever come across. I don't have any idea how something like this even happens. What do you guys think? Help me make sense of this because it just doesn't make any sense to me. So at the scene where they found Dylan's body, the investigators found no footprints, no trace of Dylan walking anywhere. None. So along with Dylan having clean socks, there were no footprints. I mean, so that explains that kind of, but it doesn't explain how he got to that spot. They tried to track and retrace ways that he could have came through from where he started to get there, but they found nothing. They have no idea how Dylan ended up where he was, and they never found his removed clothes. This case is seriously scary. Dylan's autopsy showed he died of hypothermia, and his toxicology accounted for the alcohol that was believed to be in his system. So that's that, right? Case closed. Actually, no, not case closed. So, right after the autopsy results are released, the deputy coroner publicly states that he does not agree with the autopsy results. According to him, based on his experience and expert opinion, Dylan's death was not an accident. The injuries Dylan sustained to his body were consistent with someone who was carried through the woods. Then, shockingly, that deputy coroner was immediately fired. Then, on the record, this man says he believes he is being silenced and there are things they are not saying. It's scary stuff. Even though there seems to be evidence that Dylan was carried and his death was an accident, there was no evidence that there was any foul play. So this case is still unsolved and no one knows what happened or how or why it happened. Dylan was found, but he is gone, and his family, especially his mom, who now has to wonder what happened to her son. She was so close to getting him, just talked to him, and then he vanished, only to be killed somehow, presumably. All of it is just awful. The one person who came out and tried to actually get to the bottom of things is being silenced. Probably, that's at least my opinion. But the thing is, Dylan's case isn't the only insane case with no rhyme or reason. No one trying to figure things out or just plain pretending to the public's face like these cases are solved. This happens often, and often it is in desolate areas with strange, and I mean very strange, evidence. There's strange cover-ups and weird style investigations. It is just unbelievable. Have you ever heard of any weird cases like this? I mean, these cases are nuts. They are super scary. Alright, that is it for today. Remember, I said that I have 2 other cases like this, and I am also going to probably again go over Dylan's case a little bit more in depth and how it relates to the other 2 cases. So those will be coming soon. Let's chat in the comments. Let me know how you feel about this case. It is insane to me. I would love to know your opinions, and I will see you next time, which is going to be right now, right? Obviously, because there is a video that's going to pop up right here. So watch it, and I'll see you in a sec. Bye.